Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Okay, now I'm telling you, I am not overselling this clip. Every now and then we're blessed with the perfect, unique viral encounter or moment, and this one, well, that's exactly what it is. It just is. This is possibly the news clip of the year. This is pure left-wing hypocrisy exposed. We've got Dan Goldman making an appearance here on CNN, doing what the rest of these Democrats are doing, now justifying Joe Biden's pardoning of his son Hunter Biden. And in response to Dan Goldman here, the CNN host decided to play a clip of, you guessed it, Dan Goldman himself decrying the idea that Joe Biden would ever do this back in 2023. It's one of those got him moments. I mean, total, utter humiliation. Let me show you guys exactly what happened. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so I don't know what Democrats are doing here. I don't know in what world they thought this was a winning issue, but I'm sure you noticed. Democrats seem to be arguing with the ghost. They've put out this narrative that Republicans are so shocked and surprised and especially outraged over Joe Biden's pardoning of his son Hunter Biden, but from what I can gather, this was expected and nobody really gives a crap. But anyways, they're trying to grandstand. They're trying to turn it into a political issue because they've got absolutely nothing. And I think that was a little bit ill-advised here because it's opened up a little bit of an angle for a conservative counter, you might say. And here's where I think Democrats got the message real good.
In July of 2023, just after that plea deal fell through, this is what you said. I want to watch.
Do you think a pardon for his son would be a mistake?
Yes, and I don't think there's any chance that President Biden is going to do that, unlike his predecessor, who pardoned all of his friends and anyone who had any access to him. And I think you see that in this case, where he kept on, and Merrick Garland kept on, a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney to investigate the president's son. If there is not an indication of the independence of the Department of Justice beyond that, I don't know what we could look for.
What does that feel like, watching yourself back then, reassuring people that Biden was not going to issue a pardon for his son?
Yeah, and I think that if that plea agreement and that plea deal had gone through, there would be no pardon. That was a satisfactory outcome.
It had already fallen through.
That only was. Sorry?
When you reacted, this was when the deal had fallen through. And I hear what you're saying.
Absolutely owned. He turned into a stuttering, useless mess, and really no wonder why. You know, here's Dan Goldman justifying what happened, but then there's a clip from not too long ago where he's essentially saying that this is never going to happen. And of course, at the time, the narrative was that only Donald Trump would act in this kind of blatant, corrupt manner for his own personal interests. I mean, we all remember the line back then, right? Quote, "No one is above the law."
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law.
Nobody is above the law.
No one 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 is above the law.
We heard this a million times. Donald Trump is not above the law, and neither are his co-conspirators, which he has vowed to pardon. No one is above the law. Yeah, I guess no one's above the law except for Hunter Biden, right? For Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, and the list goes on and on and on. What a bunch of friggin' hypocrites. And I know the internet's pointing the finger right now at Dan Goldman laughing over this clip, but it's not just him. And this is why I find it so idiotic that Democrats even decided to go there on this issue. I mean, they should have issued a party order requesting for nobody to make public comments because obviously this was going to backfire. It's not just Dan Goldman. They went on for weeks grandstanding over this issue.
Is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Will the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear and I said no.
His son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
The president has ruled out pardoning his son.
The president, Anderson, has been really clear that he is going to accept the outcome of the trial no matter what happens.
So Joe Biden's gotten asked about, talking about law and order. He's gotten asked if he would pardon his son. He has said no.
Asked directly, and he has said he wouldn't pardon his son if he gets convicted.
He's not pardoning his son.
And has said that he will not pardon his son.
Will he pardon his son? No.
Biden told David Muir that he would absolutely accept the verdict, whatever it was, and that he would not pardon his son, regardless. The contrast is profound. To sit there and say, well, I'm not going to intervene in the legal process, and I wouldn't pardon my son. One side, Democrats and Joe Biden protecting the justice system, and on the other, Republicans and Trump protecting Trump.
Our current president of the United States has so much respect for the law that he has said he would not pardon his son.
Mr. Biden was found guilty by a jury of his peers, just like Donald Trump, because this is our justice system at work. The divide here is stunning, and it's a great reminder that one political party remains committed to the rule of law and the other doesn't.
Joe Biden has already proven he's willing to stand up for the rule of law.
I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Ah, the hypocrisy. Democrats always take it to another level now, don't they? This just isn't their issue. Let's just leave it at that. But also, you know what? Since they decided to start the conversation, we might as well have it and we might as well end it. Essentially, the left is mocking the right for supposedly being outraged over the Hunter Biden pardon. And obviously, the purpose there is to paint Republicans as a bunch of hypocrites. Well, Donald Trump did it, so now Joe Biden can too. But there's a little bit of a false equivalency issue here. And again, extreme hypocrisy. I mean, remember the outrage when Roger Stone was pardoned. It was the end of democracy as we know it. But what did Roger Stone do? Well, he was charged with making false statements to Congress. So apparently it's valid to be outraged over that pardon, but not valid to be outraged over this pardon? And by the way, a wide sweeping pardon that supposedly, according to many legal scholars, doesn't just pardon Hunter Biden for the crimes that he was charged with, but any crime that he may have committed over the last 11 years. Yeah, I don't know, seems like a total false equivalency, especially considering the Hunter Biden laptop scandal is still pretty fresh in my mind. The Bidens were possibly selling their access to the White House and the federal government, taking multi-million-dollar payments from Chinese and Russian oligarchs. We're talking about possibly the highest level of political corruption and influence peddling, and now Joe Biden has essentially said that Hunter Biden cannot be pursued for any crime he's committed for the last decade or so. Yeah, I don't know, just doesn't really seem like the same thing. And actually, it probably shows how forgiving the right is, because they're probably not as outraged as they should be in a way. It seems the right is forgiving in victory, even though the left clearly wasn't. But anyways, just to wrap it up, this was quite the political miscalculation, clearly not the Democrats' greatest issue. Dan Goldman and the rest of these lying Dems just got exposed like you can't imagine, and what a pathetic argument they laid out yesterday morning. That's it, that's pretty much the conclusion. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.